Hello everybody. I see we're only a handful of people there, so if you could just say a hello in the chat so I see who is connected. Okay. So let's begin. It will just be a short presentation anyway. The goal is to present what is M&Ms, how to use it, and that will serve me to extract some video from this presentation and use them for the website. So as a mini how-to or mini manual, I would say. So the goal today is to talk about what it is, why is it, the first steps, and the additional features. So keep in mind, this is an ongoing project. It's an open source. I do it on my spare time, and as much as I would like to do more, it's okay, Lucas. You can come back later and see the replay and ask me questions later anyway. So yeah, it's an open source project, and we'll see where it goes. I mean, I got a lot of interest for it. So the first question is why? Why another software? So I work at Merging, as most of you know, and we are dealing with a lot of problems with audio over IP and especially the network. So I have a test networks at work, and it has many different switches and from different brands and many different devices as well. So the devices that are from Merging, but other AES67 devices to check for compatibility. And it's a very heterogeneous network. And the problem is that at some point you get so much different brands and endpoints that debugging becomes tricky, and even configuration becomes tricky. And since I already did the work for the interconnections with Aneman, I thought let's make the same with a network view, but a network view that is especially centered around the idea of seeing the network. So basically that's coming from there. So here we are, so many different user experiences, many different windows, high screen real estate needed to be able to see everything and monitor as much as possible, and going to there. So to this simple screen where we see the topology, a quick view, basic info about the devices, and the reaching of the detailed user interface of each device, and a basic view of all the useful information on those devices. So I like to see it as the Aneman of network debugging. So when this tool really becomes useful is when you have a problem on your network, but of course it's always nice to see what's happening on your network and to check that everything is going right and it's going well even when you have no problem. I mean, that's the whole idea, right? To avoid any problem. So at some point the idea is that M&Ms may get even more features and more ways of telling the user how to, or why to look for, being proactive in different parameters. But obviously that's a big work. So what is it? M&M's is free software. M&M's is free software that is open and free, as in free to use, of course, but also open source. The sources are on a Git repository, and you can see the source, you can improve it, you can add your own modules to the system. It's written mainly in JavaScript, front and back end. It's a web service actually. But since it's really modular with net WebSocket interfaces, you can basically add a module with any language you want based on your own skill or the skill of the people you know, and you can leverage into making a module for you. So Python, Go, whatever, you can write your own module, and it can interoperate easily with the core of the system. And that's the whole idea. I mean, right now, what I would do is writing every module and adding more modules to the system. And we will see that in the end, how to add modules and what are the modules for. So it's a modular framework, and the whole idea is to monitor first. So not really directly acting on the infrastructure, but right now just giving back the feedback of the data that we can extract. Much like a data miner, but of course a special data miner that is shaped for the audio network and even media network. So of course, and M&M's is also not firm things. So it's not a replacement for the advanced debugging tools like the PTP track count or the ABU list. If you've been, and I know some have, in my presentation about AES-67, you know that those are really useful tools, but maybe you don't need them always when you are looking for simple information. It's not a configuration tool, so as I said, for the moment, M&M's is read-only. Read-only as in, of course, you can write data into M&M's, I will show you how, but the idea is that you don't use M&M's to configure directly the switches. I'm sure at some point it will come, and I will be very happy when it does, by me or by any other people wanting to contribute to the project, but right now it's not the way it's working. And of course, it's not a magical solution where everything is working out of the box, it's magical, etc. No. There's many work to do, many things to do. And that's the whole point also of presenting the project, is to motivate you to participate to the project by giving feedback or by giving time into providing code to the system. So let's go to the website. So the basic website is there. Here. There. So that's the basic M&M's website, so on mnms.journal.com. And there are short texts. You can have direct access to the stable version of the app, the desktop app as a nightly build, or you can also have access to the whole GitHub. And the GitHub link brings you to the whole sources of the system, with a much more in-depth manual actually on how to use the software. And here you have all the modules that are already there for the system. So for instance, You can see the module that builds the app that we will use right away. The module for the Artelquara switch, the module for the Cisco switch, the module for Dante, the module for the MDNS browsing, the mission control, which is the centralization point, a WebSocket interface that is used by the modules, etc. So let's first go to the downloading, and because I have debugged some things, let's download the latest build. That was actually not an IT build because I just launched the build before this presentation. It takes some time to download. So that's the it's using Electron, so it's using JavaScript, and it's the easiest way of doing a multi-platform solution, but it's really big in terms of download package. So that's the down thing. Let's go try to get what we just downloaded. Okay. So I unzip the archive, of course. And it's taking a while because I'm streaming at the same time, but it will come to that. And almost there. Okay. So we can open the application now that it's downloaded. Of course, it's an open source project with that is and an application that is not verified by Apple. So the system will verify the app first. So Lucas, yes, that's just me downloading the software. That's not just me developing the software at this time, yeah. Okay, so here for the non-French, it says it's been distributed by an unidentified developer. So you go into security and confidentiality, and you click on open still, and you try it again. And at some point, it will open. Okay, so one more warning, open, and it will open. So you have two screens there. So I think it will open on the screen I'm not streaming from. So when it's opening, and it is taking some time. So yeah, so you have two ways of using the app, and we are now in the process of using the downloaded app. So right now it's coming, it's getting there. When I stream at the same time, it's really slow. And here we are. So when the app starts, you get almost nothing on the screen. You get almost nothing because the app doesn't get to the switches as easily. So when I look for the switches that are discovered, I have, for instance, this one. So the 1.201, and the app knows it's a switch, but it will not right away try to connect it. You have to select it in the switches menu. Or you can add using the services. So you see on the left, you have a menu, and you can add the switches by hand. So for instance, for the RTL switch, so I just have to give my username, I don't have any password, and the IP of the switch. Click on OK, and there it's connecting to the switch. So I can do that for every switch on the network, or I should have a switches menu, but it's still buggy. So I did try to improve things lately, but it's not working very well. I will show you in the other version. So, and then I can add the Cisco switches. So same way. So I can add one. There we go. Should be working. Then another one. Okay, and the last one. So there you have all your switches, all your devices, and despite the bug that is really annoying there, so you can see that you can find on the switches all the different bit rates on the network ports, and the multicast status of the switch, the multicast groups that are registered on each port. You have that information for each switch. There's a color code as well, so when the bandwidth exceeds 70% of the link, the color will switch to red. So in a glimpse of an eye, you can directly see the working or faulty port in your network. Then you can select some devices. So for instance, here I have emerging hosts, and you have all the streams going out of this any streams going out of these devices. So Thierry, you asked me, yes, why didn't I use the RTL as my root switch? Just because we have more customers using Cisco switches, so I needed the Cisco to be a carrier to do more debugging and proofing for customers. But obviously, yes, this is not a good network design as per performance, because the RTL switch would obviously, yes, be a root switch, or spine switch, as is more used as a term, more than root switch. So you have here all these streams, and when you click a stream, you can see here where it goes. For instance, this stream is going out of the OS and going to the root switch, and then to the red switch, and then to the red switch to one device here, and that is because of a bug is a little hidden, it's the Montone, and the Horus 131. And when you select, so you can directly select the streams from the view there. So I can click on the streams blah 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 here, and you are, if it's a redundant streams, so here it's a 2022-7 stream, you can see the two streams, the IPs that they are coming from, the IP that they are going to, and you also have a color code in use, so that you can see where the first stream, so the first stream and the second stream has the second color there. You can see where they are going. And for instance, you can see that the Horus 80858 is only receiving the first streams, the first stream element of this Meta ST21 2022-7 stream. So of course you also have Dante, and that's the latest addition thanks to the help of Thierry. You can also see the streams coming out of the device, and not only the AES67 streams, but also the Dante multicast stream. So for instance, here I have a Dante multicast stream, and when I select it, so the streams 235, 255, 245, 216, I can see that it's coming from the Dante box to the root switch, and obviously I have only one device on this network, so no device is listening to this Dante stream. The fun thing is that you also have the channel numbers that are in the Dante stream. I could go further and try to get the channel labels so that you get the labels too, but it's a pain to reverse engineering this protocol, and I don't want to do anything close to what Dante is doing with their stuff. I mean, I don't know of any tool that is providing stream monitoring for multicast Dante, so that's my first goal, and I don't expect to go further than that. So you see that there's the handy search tool, so that you can search with looking for the names or looking for the IPs. 1.201, I don't know why this is this one, but this one I was interested for. And there's an automatic ordering of the devices in this place here. So if a device gets an error, it will be ordered first on the view. So you get the switches that has an error or a device. I don't have device errors implemented yet, but when it will happen, and those get in front there, so you know right from the start what devices is problematic. If you want to go further, you can always click on this link to go to the switch interface, and I have it opening on another screen, but that's okay, because I can play a little bit. And for instance, so I'm on this root switch there, and I can play with port 2, so nothing is connected to the port 2, and I will make a modification to this port 2, so obviously it's the really first feature that I was going to when developing this software was just that is knowing the port number on which my device is connected. So you have a number of switches, a number of Cat5 cables, and you can still use tape to put the name on the cable, but you know as well as me that someone they get unplugged and they get used for something else. So in the end, this kind of software is the only way to get a reliable information on which port are connected which switch. And it doesn't want to be working right now, so we'll try again. Well, anyway, so it's the idea. You can try to go to the switch there. So even if the software is launched using the desktop app, you can still access it on your LAN at your machine IP port 8888. So this is the exact same as before, and trying to get now to get to the switch. Never working as expected. So one thing also I really like on this is when you play with the ports and turn some ports off for whatever reason, which is actually a good behavior, because when you set up a network, so Thierry, yes, everything that is happening on the Cisco switch is using Telnet. MDNS is there just to detect the switch, so just as a first intention. So I'm trying to get there. Yeah, right. And so port 2 is down now. And when I get there, and the refreshing is cyclic, there you see there's this little violet circle around the switch that say that the port is deactivated. So because when looking at the switch, you cannot really tell the difference between off port and deactivated port, then this one can be really useful too. Okay. So we saw that we can connect automatically. Automatically, I will show you later because of a bug. And we can see the network and checking the bandwidth for the port and the multicast as well. So now, if you're interested in going further into the project, there's a cool thing that you can do, but it requires a little bit of skill, is using the GitHub repository. So you can also have M&Ms using this GitHub repository, and this has this hook. So it's the same code as I shown you on the Git web page before, and you can launch the system. So you go into every subdirectory and you write npm I here to install the packets so that the system is in its best state, and then you can just show and then you can just launch the system, and first you have to okay, so you just launch the system, and there you have M&Ms running as a service, as a web service, and you have a lot of debug messages. So this can be really helpful in just getting things done. And of course, it's working on the same port. And those are the switches that were started. I will try to remove one, show you. Okay. So it's actually not removed from the list of switches, but it's removed there. So when you start the system on the Cisco switch, for it to be configured and to be actually reachable, you need to enable Telnet. So to enable Telnet, and for it to be detected, you have to enable MDNS as well. Bonjour. So for it to be detected, you have to go in the Cisco switch page, and instead of just trying to be lucky into pushing the right things, you can go just there, TCP UDP services, you activate the Telnet service, and you can activate also Bonjour, which is not on the same page. So Bonjour will be discovery, Bonjour. administration, so you just enable it and apply. And there, when it's using Bonjour, M&Ms will be able to detect it, and then with Telnet activated, it will be able to connect to it. And if you are using the default credentials, which are Cisco, it's as easy as just opening the menu there and clicking on Add Switch. And there you see you have a transition where it's starting the switch. And there it's connected again. So at first, obviously there's no information, then it's coming back. Right. Cool. Okay. So when you want to add other modules that are not by default, there's a security that prevents adding anything anywhere, anytime, which is this challenge here, this challenge key. So for instance, we can try to add the PTP monitoring. So the PTP scanner there. So we see that there's index. So node index /k for key and entering the key there. And it doesn't work. Okay, so it doesn't work because it didn't have the module. So I'm installing the modules. And you see there that it has discovered the address of the mission control, which is centralizing everything. It is connected to that. And right when I refresh here on the analyzer, I get the PTP scanner. So with the PTP scanner, I don't have any information right now because I'm not on the proper network, but I get the information on which device is actually registered to the multicast of PTP. And with a properly working BTP scanner, that is with a not network as tricky as mine, you can also have here on the PTP side the information about which one is the master and actually per domain which one is the master. Okay. So that's it. Simple as that. Just a walkthrough of the first step when using M&Ms. I hope it was useful. I will take this video and extract some bits to make some shorter videos on and maybe we make some on M&Ms. Really, it's as I said, it's an open source project, so it's really it's really about contributing and any way you can. I mean, it is just by providing test cases. So as a user, just being patient enough for me to debug it and providing feedback, or as a coder to be able to just add some modules. So for instance, Thierry had the question, so PTP scanner is an optional module? Yes, it's not yet in the in the desktop app. I will put it at some point, but the trick is that on Linux and macOS, accessing to the PTP port requires privileges, because those ports are below 1K, and those privileges are, they might be complicated to get as an easy step on the application. So instead of bringing it in and bringing even more deception than there is today, I mean, it's easier to have it outside. I will probably make a more in-depth walkthrough of how to install the Git images on a clean Windows instead of my development machine. Okay, thank you everybody, and well, see you on the next idea for Binary Get, or you. Thank you.